Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Samp&Chance. Guys, gals, strap in because it is time for the 2023 year in review via Samp&Chance. Guys, we're going to talk about male of the year, female of the year, and everything else in between. So, like I said, strap in and let's get this puppy on the road. Samp&Chance, here we go. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Samp&Chance, second episode of the year, boxing review of the year. Chance, how are you this Thursday, my
I'm
friend?
doing very, very well. How about yourself?
Can't complain, brother man. I don't think we're gonna go with the 3 round system. Let's just do a free flow
Yeah,
show. Review
absolutely.
show in full effect. I'm gonna say this right off the bat, brother. I love boxing, man. I've been waiting to do this one all week. I've been excited for it. Boxing was amazing this year. Boxing personally was amazing this year for both of us. Who would have thought that we would have gone to 2 shows this year? Who would have thought that we would be sitting inches away from potentially an undisputed world champion in the near future? We're talking about David Benavides and the time that we spent down there. Uh, Boxing, man, I love it. I love it. You?
It's been a great year of fights. We got the fights that we say we never get, that we wanted, and we got a few of them. Spence Crawford, the standout. We got Haney Lomachenko. So we got a few fights that we finally wanted. And meeting the Benavides guys, being at the camp, so many good things in 2023 for boxing. Is it best year in boxing in a long time, last maybe 10 years, as far as fight wise and
Yeah,
action stuff?
yeah, I think they finally heard that people were getting annoyed, realizing that the UFC was taking boxing away from a lot of people, so they had to step up their game. And I hope they continue that trend, man. And I mean, the way we're already looking at 2024 and what we're kind of hearing in the weeds and the grasses, that it's going to be another great year
I think
ahead,
so. Some big fights lined
right?
up.
So, but why don't we just take a look at what was 2023 and let's get this puppy started, man. Ding ding, male of the year. You want to go first or should I go first?
You can start it off this time.
All right, so I'm gonna go male of the year. I had two. I'm gonna always go with the two things that I felt were gonna be the guys. So for me, it came down to it came down to Devin Haney and Inoue. Now I went Inoue because the way he ended 2022 at 118 pounds was amazing, and what he accomplished throughout the year, and the way he closed out to become undisputed again for the second time. Only the second man to do it now after Terrence Crawford, obviously.
Yeah,
The only stain that didn't give it to Devin Haney for me was that Lomo fight.
that's why I can't get with the Haney because he
That's
lost.
what it came down to for me, because yes, he won the fight, and it's arguable that he won the fight, but it's also debatable that he lost the fight. If he came out and he dominated, he'd be male of the year.
If he would have dominated, yeah,
Right. But the fact that he didn't dominate against an older competitor, the fact that he struggled with him,
a
yeah,
much smaller man too in Lomo.
and a much smaller man, but then again, the way Haney looked against Prograis was just amazing as well. But what was the level of talent that was coming back to him,
I
right?
think
Where Tapales was actually giving Inoue a hard time into that
he
fight,
was.
right up until he lost. He was like, I think he had a few rounds on him as well, right? So,
He did, yeah.
but Inoue coming through
And then he
again,
beat Stephen Fulton before that of 6 months,
absolutely.
whatever.
Right. So the reality is he stayed active as well. He had more fights than Haney had 2 fights in the year, right?
Yeah,
Where he had one, two, three fights. I mean, but it's just the body of work overall. So for me, Inoue, your male fighter of the year. Yourself?
it was between him and Terrence Crawford. I only gave it to Crawford just because that was the undisputed fight that we wanted to see, that we've been waiting to see, and it finally happened. The way he dominated Errol Spence. I mean, Inoue won his fight, and he did beat the crap out of the guys, but Crawford didn't lose a round. He didn't even lose 30 seconds. It's just the boxing clinic. So Inoue or Crawford, you go either way. I went with Crawford just because it was a bigger fight in North America, more people, more eyeballs on it. But the most popular fight of the year still was Tank and Garcia, 1.5 million pay-per-view buys. But yeah, Terrence Crawford for me.
Yeah, no, and I thought about
He finally got the cap on his happy. Like, is he that good? Doesn't beat anybody. Then they say Spence is his kryptonite, and then he dominated him. So
No,
that's
and
why.
he dominated him, and I think that took a luster off of it for me because it was such a dominating fight. Like you built this up for many, many, many years, and to have the fight that they did was somewhat for me, anyways. Like it was great to watch, but it was anticlimactic in a way for me, right? Because it's just kind of like I didn't expect that one-sided domination,
Nobody did. It was
right?
crazy.
And it was great, but the other piece of that held Crawford off my list was the fact that he only fought the one time.
I know. No, in no way you couldn't go wrong with either one. But I just gave it to Crawford just because he
Yeah,
finally got that big fight, finally undisputed fight, the fight of the year that we're all anticipating for. It wasn't a very good fight as far as action, but in a
no,
way, Crawford can't go wrong.
for
Either
sure.
one.
All right, let's head over to female boxer of the year. Go for it, brother. You got the floor for this one first.
Katie Taylor, I think, just her year, what she
Yeah,
came through,
yeah,
the adversity,
yeah,
her wins, fights on the big scale. I mean,
yeah.
it has to be Katie Taylor. I don't. What do you think? Who do you got?
Well, I went Katie Taylor because again, she
Yeah,
lost that fight, against Chantel Cameron. But for her to come back the way she did
that's the thing. The
and
adversity,
dominate, and,
right?
and
Yeah,
the way she did that was just phenomenal. That just shows that you can take adversity because a lot of guys, like I mean, let's look at Anthony Joshua. He lost and then he lost again. A lot of guys go on a
2 in a row.
losing streak. Losing streak.
Yeah, Joshua didn't fight that adversity, come back with the way he lost back to back, right? So
Yeah,
that's why I had to give it to Katie Taylor.
yeah. I gave it to Katie Taylor. I wanted to give it to Alicia Baumgartner. Because initially I really wanted to give it to her, and I think I would have. Because I look at her style is really good. I love how she fights, and I think she could become the face of female boxing. She has the look, she has the charisma, she has all the qualities that you want as a marketing piece as well, right? To promote the sport.
Yeah,
The drug allegations and the steroid allegations is what killed it for me, unfortunately.
yeah, they're probably true if you looked at her physique. I mean,
But regardless of whatever it is, I mean, that killed it, right? And that kind of put it away for Katie Taylor. I think that she could have run away with that nomination overall. But let's see where the future holds for all these ladies. All right, man, this is an interesting one. Fight of the year. Who do you or yeah, I'll go first on this one, man. This is actually going back to December, really. Honestly, the fight that I didn't see that you told me that I missed and I went back and watched, man, Rosalie Ramirez against Rafael Espinoza, man. Hands down, like there were a lot of great fights this year, hands down, but this was probably the fight of the
the
year.
best action for sure.
The best action back and forth, just coming back from adversity, Espinoza getting knocked down when he did, and coming back and just dominating the fight afterwards. Yeah, for me, that was the fight of the year. You?
I have that down as my fight of the year, but then as I got closer to the show, I changed it. I went for Haney Lomachenko just
Okay.
because of the scale of the fight, just because the controversy of it. Still to this day, we're still talking about it. And Haney will not rematch him. So to me, I think Haney will never admit it, but I think he knows Loma got the upper hand of him. If he thought he beat him so easily, why wouldn't he just rematch him and finish the old man off? So best action for sure, Ramirez Espinoza by far. But I think fight of the year, I would say Haney Lomachenko that was Lomo's chance to get the undisputed belts, to finally get that feather in his cap, and he got robbed by the judges. So that's why I say that. But you're right, Ramirez Espinoza by far was the best fight of the year. But Haney Lomachenko, significance of it, and we're still talking about it to this day.
Yeah. I gave honorable mention to Beterbiev Vinyard as well from this
Yeah,
year
that
as
was a
well.
good one too.
I mean, until he got knocked out and got destroyed, I mean, he was winning that fight to a
Yeah, that was a
certain
great
extent,
fight.
right? So, I mean, and again, it wasn't, I call that, an honorable mention because Yard just showed a lot in that
He did.
fight. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if he can take that experience and build off of it, that guy can be something to talk about this year, man. So that was an honorable mention from my side of it. I just thought I'd throw that in there. All right, let's move on. KO of the year.
So many good KOs, right? This is always a tricky one every year, but I had to go with Zhang and Joy Joyce too. When Zhang hit him with that hook right to the chin, way he goes, made a statement in the heavyweight division. He's a beast. He's a monster. I don't think a lot of people want to part him. He's big, strong. There's so many good KOs. There's about 4 or 5 I was thinking about,
Yeah.
but the one that stands out to me was Zhang and Joyce. The usually the one that pops out of your head, pops
Well,
in
for
your head. The
me,
first one is the one you should go with.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Joyce and Zhang for me.
And if we're basing
Fight
it
two.
off of that, if we're basing it off of that, then I have to go back to May 20th, and I predict, this is my pick then when we did our mid-year review. Nakatani Mahoney.
Yeah, yeah, that one too.
That still stands out of my
He's
head
vicious.
as the knockout of the year, because then I was blown away when I saw it then, and it stayed in my head all year round. And to look back at it, you're just like, oh, right. But yeah,
That's what I like about these year interview shows, because you go back, you watch some YouTube clips, you read articles, you study, you watch this, watch that. You get to remind you, man, that was great. That was great. That was only 6 months. We forget because we move on so fast to the next thing, right? Especially with this show, we're always going to the current, right? It's kind of nice to go back, and that one too. There's so many good knockouts, but
yeah,
those two for sure.
for sure, for sure. All right, what do we have here? All right, promoter of the year. Now
That one's tough.
this tough. I went Al Heyman. I went
Yeah.
Al Heyman only primarily for the fact that Showtime put on the best shows of the year this year, hands down. Showtime wins it, right? Or PBC, sorry. Uh, just to see, look at what they put out there this year. You had the Tank Garcia, you had
Biggest fight of the year.
right, you had Benavides and Plant. That was a great card through and through. Just this throughout the whole year, Spence Crawford,
Yeah.
right? I mean, all of it. Like they put on the best shows of the year. So promotion of the year goes to PBC and Al Heyman for me.
Can't really disagree with you on that. You've got very, very valid points. They had the biggest fight of the year, Garcia and Tank. But for me, I went with Bob Arum Top Rank just because of the Ramirez Espinoza fight, the Haney Lomachenko fight, and he was a part of putting together Fury versus Nagano, which is a big fight, crossover fight. We've never seen anything on that scale before.
Yeah.
So that's why I went with Top Rank and Bob Arum. And they have the best commentators, Joe Tessitore and Tim Bradley. Love that team. Not many good boxing commentators still left, but those guys are very, very good. Yeah. But you're not wrong in what you said. I do agree with you. PBC had the biggest as far as cards go, as far as name notoriety, but just the Haney, Lomachenko, Ramirez, Espinoza, that's some really big fights. And then Fury and Nagano. And
I'll be honest,
fights too in Japan that Bob put on twice.
Yeah.
So
no. Here's the bottom line. Honestly,
you can go either way.
Both promotions did great work, right? I mean, it's just different levels of great work, right? I mean, you're not wrong. I'm not wrong. I mean, I think we'd be wrong if we said Matchroom or Queensberry, but
we'd be wrong, or if we said Golden Boy.
Or Golden Boy, we'd be wrong. But
Top Rank and PBC are the two big dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. And
now they're streaming now. PBC is going to be streaming on Amazon. So people, now there's a little more clarity. You got to have an Amazon subscription, and then you're going to have to buy the pay-per-view. But in saying that, they will have free fights too.
But here's the funny thing with that deal as well. I mean, now you're going to take a look at the purses. How are they going to be affected? Because Showtime was putting up a lot of money for these purses too, right? With PBC going to Amazon now, where's the money going to come from?
Amazon's already said we're not putting up any money. You can use our platform to stream and put in your pay-per-view. So they're going to have to really sell these fights. So that's why PBC wants to put together these Canelo Benavidez or whoever they want.
But they have to. This is all they have now, right? I mean, this is where they're streamed. So, a guy like David, does he start to think, well, maybe I should go over there now because the money here is not going to be great, because you're not going to get the PVV points. You're not going to get all the things that you would have from Showtime, right? I mean, that supplements it. Okay, granted, the guy says, your guaranteed purse is 3 million for the fight, but that extra 5 to 6 million comes from the endorsements, comes from the points, comes from this. A lot of that's being taken away from PBC now. So are we going to see a jump of talent leaving PBC because the money's not there now?
I think it's going to be wait and see. They're going to do a few big pay-per-views and see how many people are buying them. See what kind of sponsorship they can get, and then they'll play it by ear. But bold move by Al Heyman. He's like a Vince McMahon. He's the first. McMahon was the first guy to do streaming. Heyman's the second guy in the boxing world. Well, the first guy in the boxing world, the second guy in the combat world. So McMahon's a trendsetter, man.
It's got to be done. We'll find out what we're looking at here. All right, card of the year.
That's gonna have to be the Plant Benavidez card, I think, because it had Cody Crowley on there. Every fight was good. So Plant Benavidez card of the year.
Yeah, same here. I agree with you, and I think also a bit of bias on my point. We were there.
Yeah, but still, just the card. Even looking at it, if you were there, looking at top to bottom, the fights are all good.
No, yeah, yeah, Cody on there. I mean, him and Abel Ramos were fighting,
Yep.
and a big shout out to both those guys for coming onto the show. Thank you
And
guys.
Benavides. We had three of those guys off
And
the card. That's
yeah,
pretty
we had
impressive.
three guys from that, right? And the Colbert, the first Colbert
Yeah,
Venezuela fight was on there as well.
that's true.
So through. I was thinking that, but I was also thinking Day of Reckoning, just because of the
That was
names that
huge.
was on that card, right? I mean, how many times do you get Wilder, Joshua, Bivol, all on the same card, right? I mean,
And
that was
Daniel Ball was
insane.
on there too.
And Daniel Dubois and Miller was on there as well. So I mean, you
If
look at
Saudi Arabia
card,
keeps doing it like that, we're going to lose so many fights in Vegas and LA because they pay the most and they put on those cards. Like they're
yeah,
not going to put the money, right? So
no,
Day of Reckoning
100%.
was big time too.
Yeah, yeah, it was a good card. But yeah, for me, the Benavides Plant card, hands down, card of the year. And we were
Yeah,
talking about it
Plant
then.
was winning the fight for a while, and he was in it.
Bro, it's not often that you go to a boxing, like you when you're in the crowd and you can't wait for the next fight after the next fight,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Doesn't
And
happen a lot in boxing.
and it delivered. The card delivered, the experience delivered. I mean, from that card alone, look how much we got in terms of content. Look how much we got in terms of meeting people and bringing people onto the show. I mean, that allowed us to go to the All-Star game in Seattle. I mean, you just
Yeah.
look at it all, right?
Speaking of that, has anybody heard what Cody Crowley's doing in 2024? He fights once a year at 30 years old. He's wasting his career by not fighting, being inactive.
I'll tell you what, man, I got a little bit of an inside information on it. I'll share it with you off the air. I don't want to do that.
Because
Just
he did say he's retired technically. I don't think anybody took that very seriously
yeah.
because nobody's reporting on it. But he did put that on Instagram that he's sick of the fight game. And he's right, he's biased. If he's the number one contender, he should be getting the fights. He's not getting the fights.
Well, it kind of sucks because I mean, if you think about it, he is the number one contender for the WBC world title, right? Or for that welterweight title. I think what really hurt him is when they sent the IBF belt to Boots,
Yeah. But
right?
still, though, like they got to do a better. PBC got to do a better job of getting him the fights. If they can't get him the fights, then he maybe needs to go to Top Rank or somewhere else and get him because obviously he's not getting them here.
Well, Cody's in California. I'll tell you that much. Like he's
Yeah,
out
I
in
seen it. I seen
California
post.
now.
Yeah,
He's hanging out there. And when I was there in November for the last Benavides fight against Sandra Boo Boo,
yeah,
I got to talk to a lot of people hanging out with them, right? I mean, that was a part of the experience, having the years of people who are in the inside and hearing some of the things that I heard and whatnot. Best wishes to Cody. I hope nothing but the best for him. I hope he can figure it out. And I hope we see him back in the ring this year, man. I really
so what's
hope
your gut feeling? You think Cody Crowley fights in 2024 or not? What do you think?
I hope he does. I can't, it's hard to say. I mean, the man has to come to his own terms, right? He's dealing with some things right now. I'll
Yeah,
say
he
that much,
struggles with mental health. He's open about
right?
that.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
he's struggling with a couple things right now. I don't want to say too much because not to be disrespectful to him because
yeah.
I spoke to him briefly when I was in Vegas. But the reality of it is like he's dealing with some things, and some of the people that I talked to are close to him from Ontario
Mm-hmm.
that were there as well, and they had some insights. So I hope nothing but the best for him, and I hope
Yeah.
he can come back, man. Because yeah, fighting once a year is not worth it, and he's
Well, not when you're 30 years old. You're in your prime and you're the number one ranked contender. You got to make the fights happen. If he needs a better promoter
yeah,
or something, but
he's come
yeah,
too far to throw it away.
especially coming from Canada, it's very rare that a Canadian gets into this spot.
Yeah, and to be number one guy for the green belt, which I still believe is the real belt,
Yeah.
in my opinion. All right, let's move on. Story of the year in boxing. For me, I'll go on this one. It was Nagano, hands down. And for me, yeah, you had Spence Crawford, but we were waiting for those things. But Nagano coming into the world of pro boxing, and that whole story behind it and the way it played out.
Yeah, knocking him down and almost winning. Yeah.
Right. For me, that has to be the story of the year. Only for the fact that that was probably one of the worst moments of boxing too. It was a great moment, but it was also a bad moment because it really, like, okay, this guy comes in against the number one heavyweight in the world and puts on a performance like that. Did Tyson not show up, or was Nagano that good? And it sucks because you don't want to take anything away from Nagano. He didn't look great. I think Tyson just looked really, really bad, in my opinion.
No excuses for Tyson. You should have trained better. You should have been in better shape. Trust me, people are when he comes out with Usyk, he's going to finish Usyk. He's going
No,
to
he
be a totally
will.
beast.
He
But
will,
yeah,
but
Nagano shocked everybody because everybody thought Tyson would box circles around him, kind of like what Mayweather did to Conor. But Tyson Fury had a good point. Mayweather and McGregor, they're midgets compared to us. Not even up to my chest. When we heavyweights hit at this level, one little sting, knock you down. Because
yeah,
Nagano hits hard, right?
but,
So
but,
I
but
mean, but he should have done a better job. No excuse for Fury. He
here's the
won,
thing.
but barely.
I agree with what you say and what he said, but at the same time, you are heads and shoulders above this guy
Oh,
in every
absolutely.
way. He shouldn't even have touched you.
I know.
It should have been a sparring session for you,
You
and
think so?
you would right, and he shouldn't have touched you. Him touching you was shouldn't. Yeah, I get it. He touches you once, you can get knocked out. You have to be cautious. I get it, but your defensive skills should outshine his. He shouldn't have been able to get in that close to you. You should have outboxed him. You had the reach. You had everything going for you. What that showed me was that someone who is as big as him and almost as tall as him, he can't handle it, right? So
Well,
Tyson,
he did it, but he did it with Wilder though.
well, Wilder came in at 213 pounds. When you're 200
Yeah,
pounds against, 272 pounds, that's a different story. But when the other guy coming in is 6'4", 6'5", 265, and you're 270, I mean, that's only a 7 pound differential, right? I mean, 10 pounds differential. So
mm-hmm.
it just, I think it shook the boxing world more because they didn't expect that from him, even though he walked away with the victory.
Got the win, but barely. Yeah,
He got the win barely. It kind of reminded me of his younger brother Tommy against KSI. Like everyone's like, "Oh, you won," but everybody knows you shouldn't have won. Sort of a deal,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Same.
Fury. He won by the skin of his teeth, man, and that's how I know it's a good wake up call for him and a bad thing for Usyk because now this is the most motivated, hungry Fury you're going to see, and he
Yeah,
wants a
we're going
whole
to see
belt.
this
And
in
Usyk is a
February,
big belt.
right?
That's
So
only a
here we
month
go.
away.
Yeah, February. We're not too far away from that, and but yeah, so that was the biggest story of the year. Now, last one on our list, upset of the year.
Joseph Parker beating the crap Deontay Wilder like that. Everybody thought he wouldn't last, even including myself, 4 or 5 rounds with Deontay, and he beat him. He had a great game plan,
Yeah,
and he beat
yeah,
him. And Wilder looks
our-
slow. He looks shot ever since what Fury did to him. Wilder's finished.
yeah. Okay,
So
so
Joseph Parker over Deontay Wilder.
yeah, and you know what? I have that as mine as well. But right beside it, I had Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou as upset of the year. Not because he won, it's the outcome of it and the stuff that happened afterwards, and the way that people were treating it afterwards, and that energy that came out of it. Yeah, he won, but he lost.
Yeah, I know what you mean. They'll fight again. I think they'll do it again.
Well, I mean, but hands down, yeah. I mean, we saw what Tyson took out of him.
Yeah, and another thing I gotta say for dope of the year, I gotta go to Eddie Hearn because that guy's always mouthing off, always mouthing off. Now he's saying Joshua will smoke Wilder. Okay, well Wilder's shot. If Joshua is so, and he's great, but if he's as badass as Eddie Hearn's saying, let him fight Nagano and watch what happens if Nagano fights him. I think Nagano will knock him out. I don't. Joshua doesn't have that heart. Like Fury always gets up. Joshua doesn't do that.
Well,
So let's see what happens.
I think if he stays with Ben Davison, if he works with Ben Davison now, because I mean, think about it. He went from he's had three different trainers now in this last little while, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I can't remember Robert, the Spanish, the
Garcia.
Garcia. Yeah, I believe he
Yeah,
was Garcia for the first one, right? The second
he's
was
always changing trainers, right?
right, and then he went to Derek James for his April fight against what's his name? The other guy there who he fought in April.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was his name right now, but I know what you mean.
Right. And now he went with Ben Davison, but I'll be honest, man, he looked amazing with Ben Davison in that fight against Otto Wallin.
He did, but he should have done that. He's supposed to look like that. He's supposed to beat
Right. But
Otto
sometimes
Wilder.
you
He's
need
supposed to, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah, I agree with you, but you need the team behind you to bring it out of you, right?
yeah.
So I mean, if he continues with Ben Davison and it looks like he does, and if
You're talking about Robert Helenas that he beat up there, yeah.
yeah. So and let's see.
See, Joshua looks great. I can't take anything away from it. Hopefully that after Fury Usyk, because he's not going to fight Usyk a third time if Usyk wins. If Fury wins, we might see Fury Joshua 2024.
Well, it's going to be interesting because I was reading an article, Ben Davison saying that one of the things that he told him when they were meeting is like, I would love us to fight Usyk a third time because I think working with us, we can get it done.
Ben Davis can say that all he wants is not happening. Usyk easily beat him twice. Nobody wants to see that.
No, no,
You
no.
can't when you don't even make it close. It's like
Yeah.
he's just talking smoke. But you'll never see that again. But you might see Fury Joshua in 2024 if Fury beats Usyk.
Well, I mean, everything's lined up for that, right? I mean, it should be that. I mean, you've done your job, you've done your part. He beats him, you go for undisputed.
Dude,
And
I just can't wait for the press conferences and
I
all
think,
the hype for the Fury Usyk because Fury's going to go off on him. It's going to be hilarious stuff.
I think the thing that's going to hold that fight up is Hergovitz.
But for Fury Joshua,
Yeah,
yeah,
because
it could be.
Hergovitz is in line for a title shot too,
Yeah,
right? I mean, it's still that heavyweight division is still saturated. Like
yeah,
there's
and
a
you got Zhang around too. He wants to fight somebody, so we'll see.
boogeyman, man. No one wants to go near Zhang now, right?
Oh, he's
I mean,
big, strong.
he's just too powerful. All right, 2024. We're gonna start off this year with Better Beef in Montreal.
Callum Smith, yeah, good card on Top Rank.
Right. So I mean, we suspect and we kind of assume where that's going to go. We'll talk about that fight as we get closer to it. But word is out that they have signed a deal, in agreement to have Bivol Better Beef after that.
That'd be sweet. Yeah, in Saudi Arabia too, of all places. But yeah, I heard that too.
Well, Better Beef's got to win his fight first, right?
Yep. You
So
never know. He is getting older. He's 38, 39.
Yeah. Then we got heavyweight undisputed in February.
That's the granddaddy of them all.
That's it. And so then we'll see where the rest of the yard formulates from, or the rest of the card formulates from there on in. Chad, to tell you, man, 2023 was a great year. I love boxing, man.
It was a great year.
Not enough. I can't wait for what 2024 is going to bring to us, and I can't wait for what we get to cover and who we're going to have on the show. So we're going to keep learning, we're going to keep working hard, and we're going to try to keep bringing the best content and the best guests to our show. I'm excited for the future. I can't wait.
Since we're bringing that up, who was your favorite boxing guest that we had on this year? Who do you think gave the best interview we did for boxing?
For me, it was David. Only because we were there live.
Yeah, I that was a good interview too. It was really good. The questions have flowed well. Yeah. I think the guy who gave us the best interview,
Cowboy?
Yeah, Cowboy, but we did that the year before too, and I said that last time. I was gonna say Stitch.
Yeah.
Just because he showed us told us some insights. So showed us what Brock Lesnar gave him and what this guy gave him. And Benavidez is great too. Don't get me wrong. That was a really good interview. But I think obviously our most popular one, of course. But I think listening back to it the other day, the Stitch one I thought was the best boxing one that we did. Just because the way it was going. Nothing away from the Benavidez. He's obviously a much higher scale, but I'm just talking as far as listening wise.
You know, now that you bring up Stitch, thank you so much, brother, because nothing but love and respect.
Oh, he wore. Yeah, we got to bring. They've never even talked about this.
So when we were in Vegas in November, I called Stitch. He goes, "Yeah, come and we'll connect. And at the weigh-ins, he went out of his way to find me, to reach out to me and find me. Hey, let's get together. Let's talk. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And we sat at a bar and we chatted and we created a little something. And I gave him one of our pins and asked him, "Could you wear our pin?" And sure enough, man, the brother wore our pin on TV on the top rank card. I saw it a few times.
That was on the Ramirez Espinosa card.
Yeah. So it was phenomenal. He is perhaps one of the most gracious and helpful guys in the sport, hands down.
He is the Vance Nevada of independent wrestling as far as boxing goes. There's a few guys, Vance Nevada, Stitch, that are behind the scenes that are such genuine guys. They try to help you.
Yeah.
They wear their heart on their sleeve and they're just great. I can't say a bad word about either one of them because
they're selfless. They're selfless. They're selfless. Right? I mean, Stitch could have said, "Yeah, I'll wear your pin, but I want..."
Never did it. And most guys would, but not him.
No.
He's a class act.
He's a class act through and through. He just wants to see everyone succeed. Like we want to see everyone succeed. So big shout out to Stitch for 2023. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, thank you.
All the love and the respect. And, again, another shout out to the team Benavidez.
Yeah, Benavidez has been great to us.
Those guys there, their openness, their willingness, their
from senior to junior to the coach,
like the whole crew. Just to allow us into their space the way they did. And to really make us feel comfortable. And I'll expand on that. When I was there in November with them, I mean, How many people do these guys see every day? How many
Tons,
people go up to
tons.
them and shake their hands, right? When I passed Jose Senior, he stopped. Hey, Sam, how are you? And that touched my heart because like
Mm.
we left an impression on them, right? And all he says like, brother, come down anytime you want.
Yeah, I was about to say that we have the open invite to go down there, which is really cool.
Yeah. So and then just the team itself. Big shout out to Bernard, coach.
Made it all happen.
Made it all happen. Even to this day, he's still making things happen. I can't wait
He's
to.
another selfless guy too, Bernard. I forgot to mention Bernard. He's done
Yeah,
a lot for us behind the
no, he's
scenes, and
done.
he connected
Absolutely.
the Benavida stuff for us.
He did,
So
he
thank
did.
you.
And then the way he took me under his wing a little bit in Vegas, down there after the fight and everything, just bringing me into the flock, as I said to him, right? He didn't have to do that.
Nope. No, he's a
We
great guy.
we got to go upstairs, and how often do you get to meet one of the boxers right after a fight, especially after a loss?
Never, unless you're like part of the family, the inner circle, it doesn't happen.
Right. And for me to be able to go up there and spend some time with Jose and then talk to him and be a part of that team and the connections that I made. Big shout out to Coach and Coach Bernard. Just beautiful people. So, the goal for this year is to build on those relationships and to build on our work and to see what we can accomplish this year, man. We have a lot of feelers out there. So, we're hoping that some of those lines will connect and we'll have
Good
some
one.
that's some great stuff for these guys, man. Any last thoughts on 2023, brother?
We see some good fights, and we've been saying for previous years past we never got to see. We've seen Spence Crawford, Haney Lomachenko, lots of good fights. Some of the undercards, some of the undercard fights that people don't watch. You just want to wait for the main event. Some of them could be the best fights. Or that card, the free card, Ramirez Espinoza card, fight of the year, one of the fights of the year. So you just never know.
That's why we watch it all, brother.
That's why you watch it all. But yeah, it's been
We watch it all.
2024 is in line to be bigger than 2023 because you're starting off with Better BF Callum Smith in Montreal, where Better BF calls home now. And then right after that, a month later, you got the granddaddy of them all, Fury Usyk for all the belts. Number one heavyweight in the world will emerge.
No, 100%.
So kick it off.
Can't wait. And you know what? We forgot to do this in the other show. I think it's really key that we thank our families,
Yeah.
our better halves and our kids for not allowing us, but working with us to create what we're being able to create, to do the things that we're doing. I mean, the fact that we're sitting here, we could be doing other things for the family, with the family, but you know
Yeah.
what? We got a couple of good wives that let us go and do our thing. So
I couldn't agree with you more.
without the family support and without the family support, I don't think we're able to do half of what we've been able to do.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
big shout out to them for their continued support and love. And yeah, some of it's been challenging, but most part it's been pretty good. All right,
Absolutely. You made it
let's-
happen. And you guys for that.
that's absolutely all right, brother. Let's wrap this up. 2024 is here. 2023 is back there. So we're done looking back. It's time to look forward. Chance, I wish you, as I said earlier, nothing but the best for 2024 for you and your family and for us as a group, and to the fans, blessings. God bless you all.
Yeah, Happy New Year, buddy.
Thank you, brother. I'm Bobby Sampson. He's Mr. Chance Michaels. Drop the line.
And in the words of the great ACDC, those that download, like, and subscribe to the podcast, we salute you.
We do salute you, and everything works out. We'll see those guys one more time this spring, summertime. So looking forward to that. So a lot of cool stuff coming up this year, musically, wrestling, boxing.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. If you're going to see like old bands or old wrestlers or fighters, go see them now because they might not come back. So if you got a chance to see a band or whatever you like, go see it.
Go see
Especially
it.
in their 70s and 80s.
Exactly. You gotta, if not once, you gotta go. Even if you're not a fan, just to experience it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys. Samp and Chance, Happy New Year. We are out. We'll see you next week.